Hi, welcome back. This is the second part of the Villa Savoye exercise. So far we've got the grid created, the columns positioned and the primary walls positioned. We're moving on to task number 4 now, which is a very simple one. We're going to drop in this detail which will give us the partitions, the windows and some of the groundscape for this first floor layout. So let's do that. So I've changed to layer 0, and then we want to insert. So you go to the insert ribbon, and then the first command on that ribbon, insert again, blocks from libraries. Okay, we need to browse out to find the file. Okay, so it doesn't know where it is initially, so we need to tell it. So my Savoye resources here. So Savoye Gen is the file to bring in. You can see here the windows are in blue, the partitions are in cyan, and we've got a bit of greenery as well. So it's looking like the correct drawing. So we open that. Okay, and we want this to go to position 0, 0. So if you take the tick off insertion point, it will default to going to 0, 0. And we also want it to be exploded, to be broken into bits. So take the tick off, put the tick in, explode. Okay. Now eventually the icon will show up here. It can take a few seconds. It's taking an inordinate amount of time that time. Okay. So here's the icon. So you right click it and insert and explode. Okay, so everything should go to the right place. Okay, now what I'm going to do is just tweak a couple of the colors here. Okay, I would put the windows to blue. So where are the windows? Glazing, sorry, it's not windows, glazing. Change the glazing layer to blue, and if we change the partitions to cyan, it's just so when we go to the layout, the yellow is very difficult to see on the white background there. Okay, and at the scale we're printing as well, the pen thickness would end up being a bit too thick for the proximity of those lines. So this is going to make things a bit thinner, but we'll have very thick, nice thick wall lines that will jump out of the page. Okay, so the next task is to create a ramp feature in the middle of the plan. Okay, so task number 5. Okay, we've got this ramp detail. So there's quite a few kind of stages to creating this. So firstly we're starting off with these lines A and B, so we're just pulling lines down from the corner of the walls. Okay, and we just go past kind of position C initially, and offset those out the way by 100 millimeters. Okay, and then 2 fresh lines coming out from this wall to trim them off with. So let's get those done first. Okay, so the layer is ramp, and we need to get in a bit closer, see this in a bit more detail. So firstly it's lines from these 2 corners, offset those out the way by 100, so it's just a kind of a balustrade. Okay, and then we need to tidy up the ends of those, so align each way from the end of the wall. Okay, we don't go over the pink there, because the wall would lose its definition. Okay, so you can either trim or fill it there. Just tidy that up and escape. Okay, next step, Okay, we need lines D and E now, so we're offsetting the grid line by 50 millimeters each way. Okay, the wall doesn't come to the end here, we've got to be able to get around the end of the wall that splits the ramp, so we're pulling down 1250, so it's offsets here of 50 each way, offset here of 125 down the way, and then tidy that up. Okay, so offsets 50, so we take the grid line to either side, getting a bit more detailed here. Okay, now while we're here, let's trim those off. Trim, okay, and then at the top we're bringing this line down by 1250, so it's offset 1250 and then trims again. Okay, watch out here, we've left a couple of bits of line there. Okay, so let's delete those, and then using match properties, pick the yellow of the ramp and assign that to these three items. Okay, so that's looking pretty tidy. The ramp comes up, goes round the top and keeps going. So we could leave it at that, but generally we start to add a bit more detail onto here to indicate, you know, how the ramp actually works. So we come onto the ramp here, go up and round, and then we've got the ramp coming up from the floor below. So this is how we put the kind of the brake lines on the ramp to indicate that. Okay, so we're here at this moment. We turn ortho off and draw in the diagonal. Okay, and then to get these lines, we're 725 off the wall. Okay, so let's put that in. So firstly, switch ortho off and just draw a diagonal line. It doesn't have to be at a specific angle, and it doesn't have to be anywhere, you know, absolutely accurate position here either. I'll switch the O snaps off as well. So I'm just drawing a diagonal across here. Okay, copy that. Okay, just make a line between those, and then we trim these off to make them look a bit tidier. Okay, a fair bit of trimming here, just the way the trim command works now. Anywhere there's a line, it lets you trim, which is a bit laborious at times. Okay, then it was 725 offsets. So taking each of these lines out the way by 725. Okay, if you fillet two parallel lines together, you'll get a curve end, so that saves drawing a circle. Okay, so the ramp swings round. Okay, we need to break it at this point, so I'm not going to use trim, I'm going to use break so that I can make it a little bit more graphic. Okay, the break command is a nightmare to find. The icon moves around all over the place, so I'm just going to type in BR, enter, and I'm just going to pick here and about here. Okay, and what I want to do now is put an arrowhead onto this, so just a line will do. O snaps back on. Okay, and then mirror that so it looks even and tidy. I need ortho on to help me do this. Okay, just drag downwards, enter to stop, and I can copy that arrowhead down to this position. So copy, try that again, copy, pick these two lines, enter from end point to end point. Okay, so that ramp has got further to go up onto the next level above. whereas this one is coming from the level below and finishing here. So it's quite diagrammatic representation of Villa Savoye. It's not, you know, it's not absolutely fantastically accurate. It's missing doors and all sorts of detail, but it's good enough. Okay, so we move on to the final task now, and that is to just set up the layout and add the title block. Okay, let's just save it just before we lose it. Okay, so we'll go to layout 1. Okay, so there's a bit of this set up already, but we do need to just check what's going on here. Okay, really need to check the size of paper and make sure things are the way they should be. So if you right click layout 1 and page setup manager, okay, modify, okay, let's tell it that the printer should be DWG to PDF. Okay, it's thrown a paper size in there, which we can go with. We'll run with that. ISO full bleed A4, that'll be okay. What to plot is the layout. The plot scale 1:1, that's the paper size, it's not the architectural scale. Okay, and I generally work using the CTB method. You don't specify, I'm not specifying line weights per layer or anything like that. And what I want to use here is the black and colour CTB. Okay, and what I'll do, I'll show you in a second. If you can't find the CTB, you need to be able to tell it where to find it. Okay, but that's good to go as it is. So landscape orientation, click OK and close. Okay, so notice there's no margin now because it's a full bleed piece of paper. Okay, now if you couldn't find the CTB, then what you need to do is point Autocad to the folder that we've downloaded as part of the exercise, because there's a CTB in there that you can use. Okay, so it's using the red letter A, it's options. On the files tab, it's the printer support file path, plot style table search path, and you can see here my system is already looking in a couple of different locations. I'm going to add to that. So add another place for it to look. It takes nanoseconds for it to look in these folders. Okay, so we add, browse, and you tell it to where the folder is that we're working from. Okay, that folder has appeared because we searched in that folder for the Savoye Gen file. Okay, so that's related to the insert command. You don't need to keep that folder once you've done the exercise. So we open that folder, apply, OK. Okay, so you could go back to the layout. If you right click layout, page setup manager, modify, okay, and then it's looking in these folders, and you should find it should have black and colour CTB on the list. Then if it still doesn't appear, then I would try the options again. It sometimes needs to be done once or twice to fully register. So okay, and close. So we can see a bit of the plan showing in this viewport. So we activate the viewport, so you double click inside it, double click your middle mouse button to zoom extents, so that makes sure things are centered in the viewport. Now at the moment we're at a very strange scale. Okay, we want to be something a bit more kind of workable. So to do this, you can either set a custom scale, you can either create a custom scale, or do Z, enter, 1 / and then the scale you want. So for this to work on an A4, we need 150, 1/150 XP. So it has to be written in that manner, 1 / 150 XP, press enter. Okay, so as an example, if you wanted a 1 to 200, it'd be Z, enter, 1 / 200 XP. And going from 1 to 50, from 1 to 200, this should get smaller. Okay, Z, enter, 1 / 150 XP. Fits nicely into the viewport that I've left for you. Okay, double click outside. Now, do you notice the grid lines aren't showing broken now? So what looks okay in model space tends to not look correct for paper space. So what we need to do is a command called LTS, and it's short for line type scale. So it's LTS, enter, and 1, enter. If we want to see more breaks in the lines, more dashes, then we do like 0.75 or 0.5. So LTS 0.75, and see the lines look more broken. Well, that looks fine. That looks fine like that. Okay, so this is a viewport, and the viewport layer is set to not print, so that we don't get a box around the plan, so that the white paper kind of comes and touches the edge of the building. It doesn't touch the edge of a kind of a box. Doesn't look like it's very well centered, so we can pick this up. If I just click it and then click on this grip, it can be moved. I've got ortho on at the moment and O snaps. They'll get in the way if we try this, so this will give us a bit more free movement to center that a bit better. Escape. Okay, and then the final task here is to add this title box. Okay, so we'll be filling in this detail, Villa Savoye. Put in your name. I'm going to put my name in, obviously, and then first floor plan, 1 to 150 scale. Okay, so it's another insert. So insert, insert, blocks from libraries. Okay, we need to look for a different block. Okay, it remembered where we got this one from, so it's gone to the same folder, so we can see the title box. Click open. Now we definitely don't want to explode this one, because if we do, it won't ask us the questions. So we'll take the tick off explode, put a tick in insertion point, because we want to control the position. Okay, the title box has appeared. If you right click it, insert, don't click insert and explode this time, insert. Okay, the title box is on the corner of my cursor there. Usually place these in the bottom right hand corner. So okay, once we click, the questions should appear. So the project name is Villa Savoye. Client name, I'm going to put my name in here, and the drawing info is first floor plan 1 to 150 scale. Click OK. So that puts it in the correct typeface, the right height. If you've made a spelling mistake and you want to change one of the inputs here, okay, if you just double click, it should allow you to change. But a better way is to use a command called DDATTE, dialog box for attributes. And I have spelled something wrong actually, notice that. So select the block, and then the questions come back, and I can correct my spelling. That's better. Okay, this is an attributed block. They're a wee bit complicated to set up. You have to be a fair bit methodical, but I'm sure if you wanted to have a look at that, yeah, I've put videos on covering that, and lots of other people have as well on YouTube. So final thing you do is check print preview. So if we go to plot and preview, we can zoom in and look at what's happening. Now I'm not too happy with the thickness of the walls. Is a bit overpowering compared to the partitions. So what the way it works with the CTB method is that all you need to do is change the color of the layer, and that's going to affect the line weight. So color magenta on the black and color CTB is mapped to a 0.7mm pen. If we change the color of the walls and the columns to white, then we'll end up with a thinner line, because the white layer color maps to a 0.45mm pen. Okay, so you can make quite big changes to the look of a drawing just by changing a layer color. So we'll exit that. Okay, and we don't want to print just now, so we'll cancel. Okay, so like I say, it's just a layer color change. So we go to the layers drop down. We could make the ramp look thinner as well, but let's concentrate on the walls and the columns just now. So the walls are going to go white, the columns, change those to white, because they're of similar importance to the walls, so you kind of keep them the same color. And if we want to make the ramp thinner, okay, we could use a grey here instead. That one maps to a thinner pen, as does the blue, cyan, green and red. We've already used these colours already, but we haven't used much green, so I think we'll go green for the ramp. Okay, let's do a plot preview now, and we should have a bit less difference between the walls and the rest of the detail. Yeah, that's a bit more manageable. You could even go thinner than that. You could go to the yellow and have that as a 0.25, but I think that's looking not too bad. It's definitely better than having it at the magenta. The 0.7 was a bit over the top. Okay, so we let this plot now, and for those doing the exercise in class, I'd like you to upload your plot. So you can leave it as Savoye layout if you wish, and let's just pop it in with the other stuff, and that should generate a PDF. Let's just push these to one side so we can see the PDF, and there it is. Things tend to look a bit sharper once they are printed than in the print preview in Autocad. That tends to be a little bit kind of heavy. Okay, well done. Thanks for having a go at that.